Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for our Brown Bag Lunch series. Today's focus is the Quality Program Review. Before we begin, this meeting is a Teams live event, which means the audience will be muted for the entire presentation. You can, however, and we encourage you to use the Q&A feature to ask questions throughout the presentation. My name is Fritz Reiser, and I'm a program specialist in the Office of Career Tech. Brenna Bartlett and Robert Kornack will be monitoring the questions, and we will do our best to answer as many as possible after the formal presentation has concluded. We will also be reviewing the Q&A transcript after the session so we can produce a guidance document or FAQ if needed. Today we will cover the following: the Restart and Reset Guide, the Brown Bag Lunch Series, a Quality Program Review Overview, the Quality Program Review Measures, a status update for the Quality Program Review, the Quality Program Review Timeline and Workshops, and finally, answers to questions posted in the Q&A during this presentation. The Ohio Department of Education, along with an external stakeholder group, has created a Reset and Restart Planning Guide. The guide is designed to help schools in their efforts to reopen school buildings during the continuous presence of COVID-19. The planning guide is organized by three distinct sections: health and safety guidelines for reopening, return to school considerations for local planning, role considerations for associations, educational organizations, and other state and community partners. There is also a resources section dedicated to specific topics such as career tech or remote learning, among others. The Ohio Department of Education Office of Career Tech has developed the Career Technical Education Brown Bag Lunch Series to support career-centered career technical education administrators and staff in this school year, along with transitions in implementing Ohio's Perkins 5 approved state plan. Recordings of the first three webinars are available to view from the Career Tech landing page on the ODE website. The Quality Program Review is an annual review of the performance of each pathway within each career technical planning district. I moved past that slide rather quickly because one of our department initiatives is to produce a resource video series for information on high-interest topics such as work-based learning, data and accountability, and, as you'll see in a moment, quality program review. The videos are topical, short, and can be used as a reference for anyone in your organization. We kick off each video as a training segment for our internal staff and then publish to the CTE website. Completed videos are currently located on the ODE YouTube channel, and we have developed this page that can be accessed from the resources section of the Career Tech homepage to house the links to each video. I'll now play you the Quality Program Review Overview. Ohio Department of Education, Office of Career Tech, Quality Program Review Overview. Hello, my name is Fritz Reiser, and I am an Education Program Specialist in the Office of Career Tech. Along with my career fields, construction, transportation, manufacturing, and engineering, I am the team lead for the Quality Program Review. In our discussion of the Quality Program Review, we will cover the following topics from a 1,000-foot viewpoint today. What is the Quality Program Review? The Quality Program Review measures, the Quality Program standards, action plans, alignment and reporting, Quality Program Review timeline. Ohio legislation requires the Ohio Department of Education and the lead district of each career technical planning district to conduct an annual review for each career technical education program within the planning district. The intent of the Quality Program Review is to define an evaluation and improvement process, maximize the use of available resource, facilitate collaboration between teachers, administration, and support personnel to improve the quality of career technical education programs in Ohio. Aligned with Ohio's Strengthening Career and Technical Education for the 21st Century Act, commonly referred to as Perkins 5, and the Ohio Career Tech Report Card, 3 measures of quality are used in the quality program review. The technical skill attainment rate reflects the percentage of concentrators who pass the state-determined end-of-course assessment, or web exam, in their career technical education program. The threshold for achieving this measure is 67% or greater. Districts who test a low proportion of their students receive a 1 or 2 grade decrease. Post-program placement reflects the proportion of concentrators who left school in the previous year and within 6 months after leaving were in post-secondary education or advanced training, military service, a service program as defined in the Perkins 5 legislation, or are employed. The threshold for achieving this measure is 70% or greater. Work-based learning reflects the percentage of career technical education concentrators graduating from high school having participated in a minimum of 250 hours of work-based learning. Students are able to begin accumulating work-based learning hours beginning in the 9th grade and have multiple options for earning work-based learning hours. The threshold for achieving this measure is 12% or greater. For more information on the quality program review measures or work-based learning, please view these topics from the Quality Program Review webpage. To assist districts in evaluating their programs and identifying strengths and weaknesses, the Quality Program Review uses Ohio's Quality Program Standards for Career Technical Education. The development of these standards was completed to offer our programs a common method to facilitate improvement plans and other quality initiatives. Through research and consultation with education support agencies, examination of quality program standards models from other states, and the benefit of extensive professional experience, the steering committee identified 10 quality program standards. Quality indicators were established for each of the 10 standards, and criteria were developed for each quality indicator. This work evolved into a set of rubrics designed to assist in the examination of the entire career technical education program and to serve as the basis for continuous program improvement. Evaluating a program or pathway should be a collaborative effort between teachers, administrators, and support personnel, and should truly be reflective of each individual program. Pathways that have not met one or more of the 3 indicators are required to complete and submit action plans outlining strategies for improving the deficient indicator. To complete action plans, districts are encouraged to use the quality program standards results to determine the greatest opportunities for improvement. Action plans include a SMART goal, strategies, data indicators, and implementation details. For more information on action plans, please view these topics from the Quality Program Review webpage. The quality pathway relies on multiple aligned components to be connected in a manner that provides success for all students. It is important that teachers, administrators, and EMIS coordinators collaborate to ensure proper alignment of all components and accurate reporting. For more information on alignment and reporting, please view these topics from the Quality Program Review and Data and Accountability web pages. The Career Technical Education Quality Program Review is a 5-year cycle. In the first year of non-compliant, the district conducts a self-review using the Quality Program Standards survey tool and creates an action plan. First-year non-compliant pathways also have the option of attending an action plan workshop facilitated by program specialists in the Office of Career Tech. It is important to remember that action plans and workshops should be completed and attended by a team from the district consisting of program teachers, administrators, and relevant support personnel. Subsequent years of noncompliance have additional requirements and workshop attendance is mandatory. If a pathway reaches a 5th year of noncompliance, an on-site evaluation will be performed by the Office of Career Tech. Once a pathway is compliant in all 3 indicators, the pathway will exit the 5-year cycle and will not have the above requirements as long as they remain compliant in all indicators. Pathways are encouraged to continue using the Quality Program Standards tool and strategies developed throughout the Quality Program Review process to maintain compliance in all indicators and provide the highest opportunities for each student's success. All districts have an assigned program specialist from the Office of Career Tech to assist in the quality program review process. If you do not know who your assigned specialist is, please contact me at the email on the following slide. This concludes our quality program review overview. Please visit our quality program review page for additional information or contact me at fritz.reiser@education.ohio.gov with additional questions or concerns. I hope you find these videos to be a valuable resource for your organization. There are a few items that I want to emphasize. Beginning with the FY21 data set, the three measures for the quality program review will be technical skill attainment, post-program placement, and work-based learning. The benchmark for technical skill attainment is 67%. Beginning with this data set, technical skill attainment is a current year measure. Participation will no longer be a separate measure, but will be included in the calculation of the measure. Technical skill attainment will be calculated when a student becomes a concentrator and will be based on the scores from all assessments within the program of concentration that a student has taken up to that point. For example, if a student takes 2 web exams in their junior year, the calculation will be based on those 2 scores. When the student takes 2 additional web exams in their senior year, the calculation will be based on the 2 scores from the junior year, along with the 2 scores from the senior year. Retakes will be counted in the calculation, and we will always use the better of the scores taken for an assessment. The benchmark for post-program placement is 70%. There are no major changes to this measure. The Perkins 5 legislation did add an additional category for post-program placement for students that entered the Peace Corps or AmeriCorps. It is important to note that if a student leaves CTE, the last district to report a student in a program of concentration will be responsible for post-program follow-up. The newest measure for the quality program review is work-based learning. The benchmark for work-based learning is 12%. This measure was selected and the benchmark set in collaboration with an external work group made up of superintendents, directors, and EMIS coordinators from across the state. For more information on work-based learning, please review the brown bag recording posted on the Career Tech homepage or visit the work-based learning page for additional guidance documents. For a more in-depth look at Perkins 5 and the report card, quality program review, and federal reporting, Leah and our team have developed a reporting overview that can be accessed through the CTE Program Review Update link on the Quality Program Review webpage. For the Quality Program Review, the document shows years 2020, 2021, and 2022, and the groups and items that are included in each of the reporting elements. It is extremely important to note that for the FY20 and FY21 data sets, districts will be held harmless for compliance in all quality program review measures. Although the measures are hold harmless for FY20 and FY21 data sets, districts and pathways are strongly encouraged to continue all work towards becoming compliant. Current non-compliant pathways that become compliant in either of the hold harmless years will restart the compliance cycle beginning with the FY22 data set. Pathways that were non-compliant in FY19 remain non-compliant in FY20 and 21 data sets will advance in non-compliant status if they are non-compliant in the FY22 data set. For example, a pathway that was second year non-compliant in the FY19 data set remains non-compliant in the hold harmless FY20 and 21 data sets and is non-compliant in the FY22 data set will be third year non-compliant for the FY22 data set. This table shows the timeline and requirements for non-compliant pathways moving forward in the quality program review. To assist districts and pathways to continue work towards compliance status, the Office of Career Tech will continue to populate surveys, action plan issues, and provide technical assistance during the quality program review hold harmless data sets. Workshops will occur in January and February of 2021 and will be in a virtual format. The workshops will be recorded for districts that are not able to attend during the scheduled time. But please note that attending live will allow for Q&A as a part of the workshop. Districts will then be able to schedule one-on-one time with their assigned program specialist to review and/or revise action plans as needed. As dates for the workshops are established, we will post on the Career Tech website and send out to the education community. I'm now going to turn the presentation over to Robert Kornack, who will address questions that came in during the presentation. Robert?
Thank you, Fritz. And as you guys are thinking about what questions you want to have submitted, please do that in the Q&A function. And then I have gotten questions already. I've been publishing those, and we're going to read those off momentarily. Some of our staff on there have answered, and so those answers are public too, but we're going to go over them and just in case somebody is called in. So with the first question that has come in, this was answered, but I'm going to read it for you. Technical skill is a different cohort from the other two indicators. Kelsey answered yes. Under Perkins 5, technical skill attainment becomes a current year measure calculated on concentrators from the current year. Post-program outcomes will continue to be based upon concentrators who left school in the prior year. Work-based learning will be calculated based on the graduation cohort. Another question, this is when will FY20 indicator data for our district be available? Fritz or Kelsey, if you want to jump in on that one.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kelsey, our goal is to have that published and available through the compliance system the beginning of November.
Okay, so the beginning of November, we plan on publishing FY20 indicator data. Next question, are these quality program reviews this year with the absence of state report cards? Fritz, you want to go over what the workshops will look like? I think that's the question's getting at.
Yeah, really the workshops are going to be very similar to what we've done in the past. But, you know, where we will have in the morning, we will talk through a higher level of topics and especially with focus on the transition to the Perkins 5 indicators. Because, you know, the calculation with technical skill becoming a current year measure and work-based learning being a new measure, those are areas that we really want to, you know, work with the districts and pathways to make sure they understand what they can do and talk about best practices, strategies for, you know, obtaining or exceeding those thresholds. What's going to be different though, since we do have to do this in a virtual environment this year, is that, you know, usually around lunchtime, before lunch or after lunch, we would begin to go around to different tables and work with the districts on a one-on-one basis. Since we will not all be together, what we'll do is have windows of time, or really you could schedule them with your assigned program specialist at any time after that to review action plans that you've come up with, talk through issues, talk about strategies and all that, and then you know, just spend that time with, you know, your team and your program specialist to come up with a, you know, either a new or revised action plan.
Thank you, Fritz. Next question. If you have a program that is in year 4 of non-compliant and the program is removed from the school, are you required to continue any action plan requirements after the close of that school year?
So that really depends on if you have students that are finishing out the program or not. As long as you have students finishing the programs, we would expect the continuous improvement process to move forward. Once the program is closed and you've finished all your students in that program, there will be no further requirements. And I believe we've added a feature to make that a little bit easier in the compliance system this year. But as soon as we get that out of testing, we'll be putting out a new technical guidebook as well on the Quality Program Review webpage.
Fritz, this goes to a question for held harmless. With the change in data measures, is it possible for FY21 data to be considered held harmless as well?
Well, let me just double check this to make sure. So the FY20 and the FY21 data sets are the hold harmless. So FY22 data is what's going to, where the hold harmless period will end.
Okay. This is a question that I'll take. Can you go back to technical skill attainment and explain how participation impacts that measure? So right now, we have a QPR manual listed on our website that kind of goes through how participation rate affects technical skill. Right now, if you participation rate is the testing of students. And if your testing rate, participation rate is less than 90%, you are non-compliant in that status, in that measure, and that will receive a 1 grade decrease in the technical skill attainment. And those grade bands are listed in that on that manual. It's A through F. And if the testing participation rate drops below 80%, you will receive a 2 grade decrease for participation rate. So please refer to that manual. It's posted on our website under the Quality Program Review. It's the FY19 manual. We will be updating it and getting a new one out there for the changes that are coming, but that participation rate policy will be staying the same. Another question that Kelsey answered, but I'm going to read it in case anyone is called in. If it is FY21 report, is this students from 21 or 20? In the past, the data lagged 1, if not 2 years. Kelsey responded, under Perkins 5, technical skill attainment becomes a current year measure calculated on concentrators from the current year. Post-program outcomes will continue to be based upon concentrators who left school in the prior year. Work-based learning will be calculated based upon the graduation cohort. We have another question that Kelsey was able to respond to. Can you please clarify the graduation years associated with the FY20 and FY21 data sets? Under Perkins 5, technical skill becomes a current year measure calculated on concentrators from current year. Post-program outcomes will continue to be based on concentrators who left school the prior year, and work-based learning will be calculated based upon the graduation cohort. FY20 Quality Program Review is still based upon Perkins 4 business rules. So it is based upon solely upon concentrators who left school in 2019. Next question, can you remind me what the difference is between graduation cohort and the concentrators who left school? Graduation cohorts are based upon when the student was first reported as a 9th grader. Concentrators who left, March D, is based upon when the student leave school, so the March D population can be comprised of students in multiple graduation cohorts. Next question, just to clarify, since TSA is based on current year concentrators, a student can show up multiple years then on the QPR pathway report card. For example, if they become a concentrator in the 10th grade and then retest or take more courses their junior year, they will show up and the same for the senior year. That is correct. Students can appear in technical skill attainment in any year in which they are a concentrator and continue to take aligned CTE coursework. Next question, what does hold harmless mean? If the data from FY20 and FY21 do not matter, do we still need to attend workshops if a program is non-compliant in FY19 and already created a plan? Is there a way for programs to become compliant in FY20 and FY21? Fritz, I'm going to post that to you.
So yes, well, to start with the first part of that question, the hold harmless means that even if in the FY20 or FY21 data, the pathway shows non-compliant in one or more measures, they are not required to do the survey, submit action plans, revise action plans, and they will also not advance in the level of non-compliance. However, to answer the second part of your question, they can certainly become non-compliant in those hold harmless years. So if a pathway becomes compliant in all three measures in either FY20 or the FY21 data, then they will begin the compliance cycle all over again and will remain non-compliant as long as they hit all measures moving forward. So again, the hold harmless means, you know, you're not going to go backwards or advance in non-compliance, but you certainly do have the opportunity to advance in non-compliance. Now, if you were non-compliant, and this is in the example on the document that's posted on the website, if you were, say, third year non-compliant in your FY19 data, you remain non-compliant in FY20 and FY21, the hold harmless years, and are still non-compliant in FY22, your non-compliance in the FY22 data will advance you to fourth year non-compliant in that example. So for that reason, you know, we're holding all the workshops, we're providing any of the technical support. We would love to see you using the survey, revising your action plans to make sure that at the end of this hold harmless period, we have as many pathways as possible that have exited non-compliant status.
Thank you, Fritz. Next question. So the graduation cohort for FY21 is the class of 2020, correct? That is correct. The four-year graduation cohort that will be included on the FY21 report card will be the class of 2020. The five-year graduation cohort for the FY21 report card is the class of 2019. This is another question on work-based learning. When will work-based learning deadline be? What would the work-based learning deadline be for reporting in EMIS? I'm going to ask for Brenna or Kelsey to answer that one. If we don't have that, we'll get back to you.
Kelsey just answered it.
I'm sorry, there it is. Okay, it came in two questions. Separate work-based learning elements will be collected in both the student program GQ and March D records. The calculation of work-based learning for the FY21 quality program review will be based upon the work-based learning student program codes collected in the student program record. The deadline for reporting the element will be the close of the EMIS collections in which the student program record GQ is included. Next question, if a student becomes a concentrator in the 10th grade and then stops CTE, where their test scores continue to show in the QPR until they leave education.
So with the current year measure, if they are not reported as a concentrator in a year, there will be no calculation on them. So if they were a concentrator in their sophomore year and the calculation will be based on all web exams taken to that point. If they exit CTE their junior year, they will not be in the calculation from that point forward. The only thing they will be if they leave CTE and do not re-enter CTE, then whatever district or LEA reported them as a concentrator in that sophomore year would be responsible for the post-program follow-up.
Thank you, Fritz. Next question. If a school's pathway become compliant in all previous measures, they were not compliant, but under the new work-based learning, they were not compliant, do they restart or continue the years of non-compliance?
If they have any time, and this is the way it's always been, if at any time, whatever the measures are for the current quality program review, if a district or pathway, or if a pathway is compliant in all three of the current measures, they will restart the cycle again.
Thank you, Fritz. Sorry, I'm going through some questions. What is the cutoff date for the web exam data to be reported on the current year technical skill attainment moving forward? Will the dates correspond with the dates that web exam posts? The deadline for reporting technical assessments in EMIS will be the close of the career technical accountability collection in the EMIS for the year. Next question, Brenna did answer it. Do all of the 250 hours have to be pathway related to QPR? For graduation, they do not all have to be related to CT pathway. Students enrolled in career technical education courses should participate in experiences aligned to their program of study. Work-based learning completed prior to enrollment in career technical education courses should be aligned to the student's graduation and/or student success plan. If you become first year non-compliant in FY20 or FY21, do you have to complete a plan?
No, you do not. Those are, we would highly recommend it, but because those are hold harmless years, you will not be required to complete a plan at that time. But again, we would highly recommend it because we want to make sure that through those years that you get that pathway back to compliance, so you're starting with a clean slate in FY22.
Okay, next question. If you become first year non-compliant, next question. So if a student takes 2 courses and becomes a concentrator, but leaves one LEA and goes to another and does not continue to take courses in CTE program, the previous LEA is still required to do follow-up with post-graduation placement. How do we find out if this is even the case? That is correct. The student will appear in the first LEA's March D file. That's Kelsey's response. We still have some questions coming in, so give us a moment. Fritz, I'm gonna go to you for this one. Can you explain the 10th grade concentrator that leaves the program as a junior? Do you need to follow up on them after they graduate? I did not understand the answer we went over. So do you want to go through a little bit about the matrix we have and some other policies on the data and accountability side?
Yeah, so the first, and before you answered, I was just about to interject that, yeah, for any of you that have not seen it, if you go to the data and accountability webpage, one, we have a data and accountability guidebook that has a lot of definitions and guidance in it, but also the link next to that is for the concentrator reporting examples matrix. And that goes through, and it's certainly not all inclusive, but it's a guide that walks through several different scenarios where students may move from one program of concentration to another, to even a third, or move from one LEA to another. And it really shows kind of in a colored visual way which LEA is reporting for or is responsible for reporting that student in which program of concentration, depending on their course taking pattern and where they are at that moment in time. The other piece of that is that regardless, and this directly answers the question, regardless of where the student was last reported in a program of concentration, that is the LEA that is responsible for that post-program placement. So if a student is a junior, they leave CTE, just go follow an academic path or whatever, wherever they leave CTE, then that whoever reported that student their junior year in their program of concentration, and again, that's the last LEA that reported them in a program of concentration, is the LEA that's responsible for that post-program placement.
Thank you, Fritz. We got 2 questions. I was waiting on responses from members of our staff that I'm going to read aloud right now. Let me clarify. Do all the work-based learning hours, CT related and non-CT related, count toward the 250 hours counted for the QPR accountability? Yes, so long as the hours completed while enrolled in CTE are aligned to those courses. Previously completed non-CTE work-based learning hours can be part of the cumulative total. Next question, if a student takes a course and is a concentrator their sophomore year, they count. If they take no additional courses their junior year, would they still count again that year? The student will not count their junior year for technical skill attainment, but would appear in the graduation rates in the March D file. Next question. We are expected to report 2 separate numbers for work-based learning on each student, total and CTE only. Which data will be pulled for the QPR?
Robert, do you mind if I answer that one?
Go ahead.
Aloud? I just want to clarify. So we have the 2 elements. When you're referring to the cumulative total, that's the use of the program codes, and that's what the data in the QPR will be based off of, is the use of those program codes. I just wanted to clarify that the other element is specific to the hours that were aligned to the final program of concentration as selected in the March D report. So it's just not as simple to say that one CT only and the other is all. The program codes speak to, again, the cumulative hours the student had, and that's what our accountability systems will be based on. But the additional element that's being included in part of the March D is exact hours aligned to the program of concentration that was reported by the program of concentration flag in that March D file.
Thank you, Brenna. And I would also encourage, we're getting, this session's for quality program review, but I understand that it touches data accountability and also the work-based learning measure. We did have those sessions previously, and those resources are posted online with some other additional places you could find some answers or some more guidance resources for your questions you have. So please, I encourage you to look at our data and accountability homepage for those resources, the work-based learning homepage for those resources, and our CTE video resource website where houses a lot of these videos. We will also be posting the slide decks and the recorded videos of these sessions on our website for you to review also.
And I would just mention that any of the recordings, we have also included the Q&A that's a part of the Brown Bag series. So if you do, if you miss them and you watch any of those in the past, it will also include the Q&A portion of the presentation.
Okay, we got one more question that came in. So if you missed reporting a program code for work-based learning hours, can you still report the work-based hours for programs in March reporting? I know Kelsey's on and she is typing a response. She's not available in audio, so we will read that response here shortly. At this time, I'm going to ask that if any remaining questions, please be submitted now. So that last question we had, if you miss reporting a program code for work-based learning hours, can you still report the work-based learning hours for programs in March reporting? Yes, but only those hours that are related to the program of concentration chosen in the March D should be reported at that time. Give it a minute or two to see if we have any more questions come in. Okay, so that finishes our Q&A session. We do have one question submitted that I would like to publish and see if Kelsey or someone else can talk about it. I can talk about a little bit of it. I am somewhat a new EMIS coordinator and a lot of information is being given. What is the best way to understand all of this information and who to work with? Waiting for a response and then I'll read it. My first thought would be definitely be working with your fellow EMIS coordinators, your CTPD, and the ITCs, all of which are great resources. There are also new EMIS coordinator trainings held several times a year, which may be of use. That's Kelsey's response. I am also on the council for the EMIS Advisory Council at the ODE, and we are looking into creating more thorough trainings and getting information more efficiently disseminated to the EMIS coordinators. So we are coming up with resources and look for those to come out in the following year. So Fritz, that finishes up our Q&A. I'm going to kick it back to you.
All right, thanks, Robert. And I just want to thank all of you for taking time out of your day. I really hope that these brown bag series and also our resource videos are a valuable tool for you and your staff to use. Please feel free to share any of them. We will get this posted to the website along with the others just as soon as possible. And like I said, feel free to share the links or pass them around. And as always, certainly email me frits.rizor@education.ohio.gov or any of our team with any questions. So with that, I'll finish up, and I hope you all have a great day.